The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Window World of Western Mass, a local family-owned and operated complete exterior remodeling business offering windows, siding, gutters, and more. windowworldofwesternma.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Ski Sundown in nearby New Hartford, Connecticut, offering group, private, or semi-private lessons for all ages and ability levels. Options and details available at skisundown.com. Winter made better.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, another quick preview of the Back Porch Festival with a band you can catch on Friday as part of the citywide Northampton lineup, Cow Person.
And we'll check out all the ways the cool kids are quickening their tongues with word nerd Emily Brewster and a quick look at slang.
But first, this Friday, March 7th, 3 decades of comedy are being celebrated just down the street from the NEPM studios at White Lion Brewery here in Springfield. Gerald Kelly's Comedy Anniversary, a night of comics of all ages, including 11-year-old Hunter Kelly, who just happens to be Gerald Kelly's son, and whose credentials include appearances already on NBC, BET, Netflix, HBO, and more. And your son is going to be opening up for Kevin Hart, maybe, in certain locations. We'll get to that in a second.
We can figure that out, right. Joining us to talk about that night of laughter is the man himself. Gerald Kelly is an actor, stand-up comic, producer, screenwriter, and father. He's performed all over the world to sold-out audiences and is known as the reigning New York king of comedy. We're going to hold you to that. Russell Simmons calls him the Black Jackie Gleason, and with his brand of comedy, he's guaranteed to make you a believer in the healing powers of laughter.
Here's a clip from Gerald's audition from America's Got Talent.
Any parents out here? Love being a parent. Certain things about being a parent I don't like. Like, I'm not the homework dad. You ever get your child's homework and just stare at it and make faces because you don't know it? This is the new math. No, they didn't have this when I was in school. You got to add this subtraction. One time I did my son's homework for him. He came home all the homework wrong. I thought he had a fight. I said, man, why you crying? The teacher gave me 2 zeros. I said, how the hell you get 2? She said, 1 for me and 1 for you.
That's Gerald Kelly's audition for America's Got Talent from a couple years ago. You got 4 yeses, I think, with that one, yeah?
Yes, I did.
That's good.
The 4 yeses from the judges, and that was a beautiful experience, man. America's Got Talent is amazing.
Yeah, huge audience to be performing for.
But I'm gonna tell you something. When you see it on television, it's 5,000 people in the audience. Mm-hmm. There was no one in the audience.
Not one human being.
Not one human being. Only the 4 judges.
Because of the pandemic?
Because of the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So as a singer, when a singer, a musician get up there perform in front of 4 people, it's okay. For a comedian,
Yeah.
But you got to have some killer material.
Yeah.
And once I got Simon laughing, I was like, it's over.
Yeah. You knew they were going for it.
And then my baby came on after me. My little son came on right after me, and they didn't know he was my child. They go, hold on, is Gerald your dad?
Well, let's hear a clip of that when your son followed you up on America's Got Talent.
Give it up for my dad, Gerald Kelly, the comedian. I love that dude, but he's a loser.
Why?
Oh, my God.
I'm 7 years old, and we have the same job. My dad said don't ever get in a car with a stranger. But tonight we took an Uber here.
That is your son, Lil Hunter Kelly, who'll be part of this big celebration at White Lion this coming Friday right down the street in Springfield. You did Uber here today, even.
I did.
So
I took
not
a lift
taking
here,
your own advice.
I took a lift here, and I got some great shirts for you guys. Stand Up for the Homeless, my initiative.
Yes.
And I left the shirts in the lift, but I just texted them. They're going to bring it
Oh,
back.
cool.
Yes.
I was going to say, the Lyft driver is now going to have all these cool shirts.
Yes.
That's such a cool thing. Like I love when art and like good causes mash up together. Talk about a little bit about like comedy for the homeless.
So I was at a comedy club in Syracuse, New York about, I want to say about 7, 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. And when I get to the comedy club for my last show of the weekend, me and my sons, and the general manager's irate. He's like, there's this derelict, this bum in the lobby looking for you, and he can't come in my club, and yada, 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 yada. So I go get the guy. Guy's a huge fan of mine.
Uh-huh.
He's just homeless. He's a regular person like we are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I said, what's going on, buddy? He says, man, everything's good now. I wanted to meet you, and I wanted to meet Bernie Mac. He said, I can't meet Bernie Mac because he's no longer here, but I can meet you, Gerald Kelly. I said, come on inside the green room. Brought him in the green room. He looked out the window. He said, I live right there under a bridge. He sleeps under a bridge. He said he got kicked out of a shelter 3 times. He was honest. He said he started the fights twice. He got kicked out 3 times. And he says, I said, have you eaten today? He said, I haven't eaten in 2 days. I said, let's go. Get the menu and order everything you want. Some real food, not no burgers and fries, or some real food. He says, my dream is to do comedy. I know I can do it. Here comes the general manager again. If this guy goes on my stage and disrespects my crowd, you'll never perform here again, Gerald Kelly. I said, you don't have to worry about me. I'm never coming back here again. None of my sons are either. I let the guy go on and do 2 minutes. He did 2 minutes. He crushed the place.
Nice.
Standing ovation. He did a joke. He says, my family, I'm homeless. My family thinks they're better than me. He says, my sister has a bachelor's degree. My cousin, my brother has a master's degree. My uncle has an associate's degree. I'm a criminal. I got degrees too. He said, I got robbery in the 1st degree. The place went crazy. He got so nervous, he dropped the mic and ran to me.
Wow.
And jumped in my arms. I looked down, my little son, Hunter, who's 11 now. Hunter's like 4 or 5, performing with us. Hunter's holding his leg, hugging him.
Oh, man.
Josh was hugging him. Dude, we hung out that night. We went back to my hotel. I remember our hotel had 2 beds and a couch. I remember. I said, you're not sleeping under no bridge. You're staying with me. We get to the room. I go downstairs with him to let the management know the hotel to keep my debit card on file in case he wants to order some food. And can I get a late checkout? All I wanted was a late checkout. The night manager said, dude, I was homeless for 15 years. I love what you're doing. I'm going to give him a room free for a week.
Wow. That's so great.
That's beautiful.
So I started, after that night there, I reconnected with him. I brought him in New York to a show of mine at Caroline's on Broadway years ago. And you never know who's in the building. At that night, I brought him on stage. He started a cadence on stage. He's a former Marine. 2 words that shouldn't match. Homeless veterans should never match. Homeless veterans ever. This guy's on stage. Marines come up on stage. Now, what's her name? The producer for Love and Hip Hop. I forget her name. The woman. She comes up on stage with him. A gentleman walked up and says, I own apartment complexes in Queens, New York. I'm going to give him an apartment, a studio apartment, rent-free for a year. He got hired. Now this guy, his name is Todd. Me and him are best of friends. We hang out, and he's part of Stand Up for the Homeless with me. I've put with me and my sons over 890 homeless people in hotels. We just put 4 people in apartments. So we sell our merchandise at our shows. We kill the shows.
Yeah.
We kill the shows, stand ovations. We got 300 T-shirts to sell at $25 a pop. One guy the other day said, hey, dude, I don't want a shirt. I want to write you a check. You write your check for $1,500.
That's amazing.
So we use this money, man, and we go out and we get more. So now I want to shoot a special. I want to shoot a stand-up special predicated towards the less fortunate. In the audience is nothing but people from the streets, from the shelters. And it's beautiful. We take them and get haircuts. We take them shopping. We take them to dinner, right? You know what I'm saying? Then we bring them to the comedy shows. And then we go hang out after the show at someplace real safe and nice and give them a sense of normality, even if it's for one night. So I love doing that.
It's amazing.
That's so cool.
We are speaking with Gerald Kelly, whose comedy anniversary show, 3 Decades of Laughter, is coming to White Lion in Springfield this Friday night. March 7th, with a great lineup of comedians, including your son, Lil Hunter Kelly.
I'm going to keep talking about things that aren't the show, and that's where we'll get back to the show. But you've done so much other stuff that we got to bring that in too. Talk about coming from America, because it's such an interesting it's an interesting show where they took families and black families from America and brought them to Africa to try and live for a
It
little
was
while.
the most amazing experience of my life. Now, I was separated from my wife. My wife is from here. We were separated at the time. We filmed this 3 years ago in Ghana. So we were separated, going through potential divorce. We didn't know. And production called me and said, hey, we heard you and your wife are not together anymore. We just want you and your sons anyway. I said, no, you not. Even though we separated, we still, you gonna get on this trip. Because as a man, I'm thinking, if I get this woman to another continent, I could get back in good with her. How many dudes can look at you in the face and go, I'm taking you to another continent. But you know women, you know y'all. Ain't nothing changed when we got out there. What? What? You can tell by the Delta flight. When we get on the flight, she got a seat way in the back by herself.
She's still mad.
She got a purse and a bag on the extra seat, the two-seaters.
Still mad.
Still mad.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a beautiful experience out there. We was told that you couldn't American stand-up comedy wouldn't work. We told the producers we're different. The way our ink pen writes, we can make material for everybody to laugh. We did a comedy show out there, crushed it, me and my sons. And guess who hosted?
Who?
The wife. So beautiful show, beautiful event. We were out there for a few months. We filmed it. It came on Max. It's on Max right now streaming.
HBO Max, yeah.
HBO Max is called Coming From America. And it was just an amazing experience, man. I got tired of being in the Beverly Hills of Ghana. I was in Accra. So I told production, I said, please take me to the real Africa. I want to go to where it's really happening, like people going through it. So he said, my brother, it's going to be a 1-hour flight. I said, okay. And a 4.5-hour drive in the van. My knees are killing me in the van. I said, bet, let's do it. It was the best ride ever. I met so many kids and people who have been going through so much, man, and I learned. Little Hunter hid his passport in Africa purposely. He pulled me to the side and said, Dad, bro code, don't tell Mom. I don't want to go back to America. I said, bro code, you be here by yourself because I'm going back to the crib.
He seems charming. I'm sure somebody would have taken him in.
He'd have been just fine.
He would have been fine.
But yeah, that's on Max right now. It was a beautiful experience, man. God is great, man. He's just blessing us with so many things. To have a 30-year career.
Yeah.
I'm doing 60 cities in my tour. It started last week in New York. I'm from New York. So last week in New York, sold out venue to do my 30th anniversary. And this Friday is going to be insane at the White Lion. Shout out to Ray over there, man.
Yeah, we love Ray.
Ray's a great dude.
Word.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Great beer, too.
Great beer, great. They have everything in there now. You know what I'm saying? They got wings and fish. That's why I go for the fish
Yeah.
Yes.
and the wings.
Your wife is from Springfield originally,
wife is
right?
from
Is that the
Springfield.
connection you're having to, because you're from New York, you go all L.A., you know, you're all over the world, Ghana.
Yeah.
But Springfield, that's the connection?
She's here. I met my wife is she was a music journalist years ago. So I met her at an event in Bridgeport about 15 years ago. So funny, man. She's in the audience and I'm on stage. She was there doing one of the group intros. The singing group intro was there, and one of the lead singers wasn't there anymore. So the group was like, eh. I was hosting the show. It was comedy and music, and I'm on stage looking at this beautiful woman. You know a woman is fine when she make a big dude hold his stomach in. I was trying to act like I didn't have a stomach. I was holding a whole stomach in, walking around, man, doing this to the lips like LL Cool J. And I saw her. It was so funny because I was like, in front of the whole show, I stopped the show and said, "You are beautiful." She's like, "Thank you." I said, No. I don't care about nobody else at this show right now. What is your name? She told me her name right there. She was all shy because it was embarrassing because there's a show going on. After the show, I'm standing there selling my I remember selling we had DVDs back then we were selling 15 years ago after the show, right? And she's walking by, "Have a nice night." I said, "Have a nice night? I just met my wife. You're not just going to leave like that." And we go outside, we exchanged numbers, and I never heard from her again. And New Year's Eve, I was out of the country. I wasn't too far. I forgot. I think it was in the Bahamas. And I got you get a text message, "Happy New Year's." I didn't realize it was a group text that she had sent to everybody in her phone. But I saw it as just her sending it to me. And I was like, there she is.
She remembers
She remembers me. And I was like, hey, you called me, did you text me this Happy New Year? She said, oh, that was a group chat, but how are you anyway? I was like, what? That wasn't for me? So we started talking about, right after that we started talking. And I was living in New York. And this was about 13 years ago, after we, initially started dating, about 14 years ago. I gave up my apartment in New York and moved out here. Oh. And then we left here and moved to Atlanta for 8 years. That's why I'm in Springfield, man, because of her.
Well, we're lucky to have you.
Yeah, I like it here, man.
Yeah, it's cool. We like it. We have a whole show about it.
It's cool. Come on now, that's why I'm here.
That's why you're on the show.
Well, I love it up here too. I want to talk to you guys about coming up here. I want to come up here and hang out with you guys. There's some things I want to do. Like I didn't get the energy of. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker who lives in L.A. for years, so I do a lot of industry stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I'm in Springfield going, well, I can't do it like I can do back home because it's not available. And I'm like...
No, you got to make those tables, man.
Right here in this town. It's right there. I love it. That's why I'm bringing comedy here. This town needs to smile. It's a beautiful town, and we need comedy.
Facts. Everybody needs comedy.
Everybody needs to laugh.
Yes.
Everyone needs to laugh.
What's it like working with your sons?
It's amazing. It's amazing because they're very serious. We're funny on stage, but when it comes down to the business, like my 11-year-old son, when we get to certain comedy clubs across the country, first thing he'll ask the management, "You have a clean green room?" And he's serious about it.
Yeah, no, he should be.
At 11, he's serious about it. And then my middle son, the 18-year-old Joshua, his thing is, so. Who's giving us the light and how much time and what's the order? What the ticket sales look like? I told him the business at a young age.
Yeah.
My oldest son Isaiah, he's just like, yo, I just want to get my money, man. Just pay me my bread. I don't want to be short. Get my bread, And we have a good time, man. We laugh. We talk about each other. I talk about the funny thing is, there's 3 sons, 3 different women. Mm-hmm. I married twice. 3 sons, 3 different mothers, and I'm always like, they talk a lot of trash. If they was up here right now, they'll be talking about me. We did the interview on the Breakfast Club, and they all was talking bad about me, and it was my turn to talk, and I talked bad about their mamas. I said, I know some things about your mamas that y'all don't know. And the little one was looking at me like, what you mean? I'll tell you when you turn 18. That's your mama.
That's a good default line to go to when you're 18.
I think I just did a show with my 11-year-old. We just did the Stress Factory last week in Bridgeport, 2 weekends ago, Bridgeport, and with great shows out there, me and him, and he was on stage killing. But he's talking bad about me. So I get on stage and I go, hey man, y'all give it up one more time for my stepson. I am not the father. You are not the father. But it's a blessing, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. We just got word this morning that we're starting the beginning stages of shooting a stand-up special with all of us together.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
The new My 3 Sons.
Love it.
Just beautiful, man. It's just beautiful working with them, man. I'm so proud of them. Shout out to Isaiah Kelly, Joshua Kelly, and Little Hunter Kelly. Little Hunter Kelly will be with me this Friday.
At White Lion.
Along with Ava Evans, Howie Bell, Eddie Diesel, and Pops. It is Gerald Kelly's comedy anniversary. 30 years, 3 decades of laughter. The doors open at 6:30.
Yes.
Showtime is at 8 o'clock. You can catch that show coming from America on Max right now and see their fun exploits in Ghana.
Wicked cool.
Thanks so much for coming in with us today, Gerald.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. You guys, if you guys, anybody interested in celebrating with me, they can go to White Lion's site, Eventbrite, to get their tickets, whitelion.eventbrite.com, and grab your tickets right there. Please come on out. It's this Friday. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. And we will link to that in the show notes, too. Gerald Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. Later in the show, we'll hear Homegrown Americana that you can catch at this weekend's Back Porch Festival from Michael Hansen and Keith Duso, who make up Cowperson.
But now we'll go around the corner and get the 411 from Merriam-Webster on slang with word nerd Emily Brewster.
Just like Mary J. Blige, you're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Known to the world as the one-hit band.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by UMass Amherst School of Public Policy. Admissions now open for graduate programs in 2025. Learn how to become a changemaker at umass.edu/SPP. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Ski Sundown in nearby New Hartford, Connecticut, offering night skiing until 10 on 16 groomed and lighted trails. Ticket and rental information at skisundown.com. Winter made better.
Suzanne Vegas sold out Friday, so tell the Rendezvous crew to brace themselves.
Oh, yes.
That's valid.
Yeah, it's exciting. I saw her at Academy of Music, but I didn't get a ticket to see her in Turner's.
Well, irony, I didn't either.
I saw her at the Iron Horse.
I'll just sneak in. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
She has played at the Iron Horse while I was working there.
Suzanne Vega's drummer was the one who introduced me to this CD collection that you used to only be able to get, like, order through Howard Stern's radio show called Celebrities at Their Worst. This is pre pervasive internet, and it had the legendary John Wayne graduation speech where he is totally trashed, and it's like my favorite thing of all time, and I have Suzanne Vega's drummer to thank for that.
My name is William Wayne. You know, it's so terrible that you don't know how to... There is no way to be a leader in Americana except you guys. You gotta control it.
Time for another Word Nerd segment with Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Greenfield, Massachusetts, from our dictionary in Springfield, Merriam-Webster. I love slang, and that is what we're going to talk about today. Slang, I think a lot of people, when they're just getting introduced to the concept of language and the dictionary and what its role is, will love to say things like ain't a word.
Ain't is totally a word.
And they're so wrong.
Really, I feel like the true mark of when you're comfortable in a language is when you have some comfortability with the slang of whatever language you're speaking.
Exactly. That's why I try to use skibbity and Ohio and things like that now, so the kids these days can understand me.
No, I don't speak young. Those years are gone.
I've totally given up.
I have, yes.
What do you two think qualifies as slang? What sorts of words? What's a quality a word has to have to be slang?
My mom isn't going to use it.
3 years after I've heard it the first time, I hear white people using it.
Seems like a good rubric. What does the dictionary qualify as slang, Emily Brewster?
Well, we use slang as a label, of course, in our dictionaries. Most words have no label that tells you anything about their register, but then we have some words that are labeled informal and some words that are labeled slang, among other things. And in order to get that slang label, a word has to be characterized by extreme informality, and it has a speech-like quality, and this is the key part of it, it is used within a group for in-group communication.
Hence, 3 years later, white people start using it.
Yeah, and before those 3 years have passed, the white people have no idea what it means.
Right.
Yeah.
Wokeness is trouble. Wokeness is bad.
I'll also say,
what does that mean?
when The Sopranos comes out, all sorts of other types of people start using Italian slang that, like, your grandmother yelled at you if you were Italian.
It's over. Capiche?
Not necessarily marginalized, but smaller communities using certain words and phrases is definitely how I think of slang, hence me not being able to speak young anymore.
Yeah.
That's right, because the young community is a key one, right? Mm-hmm. So much slang begins to be used by the young.
I wonder why that is. Is it because they're in school together and then they just develop their own little cliques and their own little cultures and then words grow out of that?
And possibly because they don't have as firm or solid a grasp on the language too, so they're free to come up with whatever they want.
I think both of those play into it. There's also the fact that they are together in this environment where it's a very enclosed environment in the school, not online so much anymore, of course. So they've got this setting where these things can percolate and develop. And then also just notoriously creative when it comes to language. They push boundaries, and sometimes they push boundaries probably because they don't acknowledge the boundaries. They don't realize the boundaries are there, but for whatever reason, they're pushing boundaries. There's also always a probable intention to have some kind of a code that cannot be understood by the rents, the parents, the teachers.
The
right?
rents. I've never heard them. That's slang that I'm...
Wait,
okay,
you've never heard the rents?
I think that's a dead one, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody says rents anymore. Do you know it, Khalees?
I do know it, yeah. And I've used it. I don't use it as much as I used to, but definitely have encountered it.
My children better not call me that.
Well, you're just one half of the rents.
Yeah.
I guess. The rent is too damn high.
The rent is too damn high.
Too often, I think. Did you have any school-specific slang with your school, Emily Brewster?
I don't know. It was the 80s. I don't remember there being one that I felt like was limited or that I have since learned was limited to my school.
Yeah. What about you, Khalees?
Not really, but part of that is because I went to so many schools. But that said, I still use a lot of the slang that I used when I was young because I apparently have not grown out of it.
Like what?
Like hella.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one, though.
Ooh.
To me, there was a huge Massachusetts divide. Like, my Bostonish family would never say hella, but my Plymouth, Massachusetts family used hella. And I was like, what the hell is hella? And then I heard that it was coming from the West Coast. And then, of course,
totally coming from West Coast.
That Hella Good song came out. Then I was like, this is now, everybody knows
like
this.
The kids at my boarding school from California were all using it, and it just made, and there's only 200 of us, so we all started saying it.
A fantastic lexicographer and linguist named Ben Zimmer, who's a friend of mine also, he has done deep research into hella, and the earliest evidence that he found was specifically from an East Bay, Oakland, California yearbook in the early 1980s.
Love that.
So he traced it all the way back to a particular school even. And then it was introduced into the broader Oakland area probably by a publication provided for the LGBTQ community. That was where it was first used outside of a yearbook that he was able to find.
Interesting.
He also found evidence of it initially being spelled in these yearbooks like HELLOF. But it was still used to mean as hella does. It's used as an adverb and as an adjective. As an adverb, it can mean very or extremely.
Right.
And as an adjective, it can mean a lot of. And he found those uses with that other spelling.
The East Coast analog of hella, of course, is wicked.
Yep.
Which is
Which
one
I
of
have
my
always used.
absolute favorite words of all time. And I'm
Regardless of my rents. Who were not very fond of me using it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm holding space for wicked as slang forever.
I mean, it's just like we're from New England. We can't.
I remember somebody criticizing me once saying, is it really truly wicked good? And then I said back to them, I don't know, but I'd awfully like to find out. That's the kind of word that they probably would not have had a problem with, but they did not like wicked.
Yeah. People did object to awful, meaning exceedingly great.
Really?
Like, an awful lot of money. For a long time, some people felt and probably still feel that awful should only properly be used in contexts that relate to being filled with awe.
And not even terrible.
But then how will we tell the rubber ducky that we're so fond of it?
Rubber ducky, I'm awfully fond of you.
Although, because awe is initially related to the awe-inspiring deity that is God, there is this idea of fear, being terrified, right? So awful does have an obsolete meaning of afraid or terrified.
Like the shepherds in their field during the Christmas story.
They were so afraid.
Or the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom could also be translated to the awe of God is the beginning of wisdom, depending on what route you want to go down with your religion.
Yes.
Terrify the children or inspire them.
Are you Jesuits or Benedictines?
Nobody describes those shepherds as awful.
Nope.
What's a Christmas shepherd gonna look like holding a stupid blanket like that?
But they were.
No, but you could.
One of the slangs I really hate is let's go. Let's go. No, please.
Because I watch at least one sport, I'm a little more okay with it.
It's not like you're cheering from the side, let's go. It's like something's already happened and they're like, let's go. Or like my nephew's opening up his Christmas presents and he likes what he sees and he's like, let's go.
See, that I don't get.
Like, what are you talking
like,
about?
If you just did a thing that is awesome, I totally understand that, like, let's go.
Or you're in the middle of doing something and you're trying to encourage them to continue doing it.
I find myself for hockey games when they score, I'm like, all right, let's go.
But they've already done it.
Yeah, but they're still in the game.
Let's went.
Definitely does not have the same ring.
One of my friends has started saying, let us go, which is also makes it more funny. Let us go.
I do kind of like
good.
that. That's
Let
pretty
us
great.
go. I have in front of me right here some slang dictionaries because I thought it would be fun to talk about them. The oldest one that I know of was published by a man named Francis Grosse, Grose. 1811, he published the Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue.
Yes.
A dictionary of buckish slang, university wit, and pickpocket eloquence.
Wow, I love that title.
What?
What are some of these words?
Jessamy is a fopling, so a young fop.
Wait, I don't understand what any of those words mean, except for
fop
young.
is a silly, pretentious man.
A jestling is a young fop.
Here's one. Rough music. Defined as saucepans, frying paps, poker and tongs, marrow bones and cleavers, bullhorns, etc., beaten upon and sounded in ludicrous processions.
I love it. It's like the precursor to heavy metal.
Excellent!
It's like bucket bands when you see people playing like pots and things.
Yeah, or
out in the
stomp.
public. Yeah.
All right, how about a feeder? It's a slang word for spoon.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm looking through this book and I'm trying to find words that I can say on the radio, but there are plenty in here that I really can't.
That's an even better endorsement.
You put slang words in Merriam-Webster, but you just indicate that they're slang, right? But I know that there's like the Urban Dictionary, which is really kind of a fun website to go to see if there's a word that's not yet in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, but you're hearing the kids these days use them. Is it the same standard that pushes it over the edge into your dictionary, published and edited texts?
We want to have it in print. Yeah.
Where does the word slang come from? Because it has lang, like language or lingua, in the word itself.
Nobody knows.
That's awesome. Much like slang itself, just sort of erupted from the ether.
Yeah.
Our earliest evidence of the noun in use is from 1756.
Is there an example from that 1756 in the dictionary?
Ooh. Not in our dictionary, but over at the Oxford English Dictionary.
Cheater.
We will see what they say.
Look, they had the language first. We can't be that mad at them.
All right, so the earliest they define is, a line of work or business, especially a dishonest or fraudulent activity, occupation, or scheme. If you were doing some dishonest business, that was called slang or even slango.
It's neat because it makes it feel like you're cheating language to use slang.
Their first definition of the one that refers to language, the special vocabulary used as a secret language by thieves, beggars, itinerant peddlers, etc.
Aha, so it's like coded language for the people that are creating these schemes. The schemes were called it, and then they just call their language it.
Yes. So this is from 1756. Thomas Throw had been upon the town, knew the slang well, had often sate a flasher, and understood every word in the scoundrel's dictionary.
I hope flasher meant something different back then.
I don't know. Looking at this Francis Gross dictionary, there's so much.
I'm thinking probably not.
Oh, here's a good one from that dictionary. Gig means a nose, G-I-G-G.
Huh.
And gift of the gab is in here, too.
Wow, that one people still use.
Yep.
Other favorite slang?
Well, we haven't talked much about recent slang.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The line between being simply informal and being considered slang is one that can be crossed quite readily. The word itself has to be more widely understood, and it just has to start appearing in less informal contexts. And then all of a sudden, a word that was slang is no longer slang.
For instance, a show on NPR that is called On Point, which for years was slang.
Yeah.
That sort of cred makes it not slang anymore.
Once your NPR show is named after something, you've taken the slang and made it more proper. The rundown.
Right. Right.
One that I'm loath to bring up is Doge, which started out as a cute way to talk about a specific breed of dog, and then turned into a meme, and then turned into a cryptocurrency, and then turned into a department of the government.
I actually just call myself a humble tech support here.
Other contemporary slang that you want to draw our attention to, Emily Brewster?
Well, clapback is an interesting one. We don't label it as slang, actually. We label it as informal because of evidence of, where it appears. So I think it began as slang, and then it was very quickly whisked away from the original users of it and disseminated widely.
Does it have a picture of Nancy Pelosi from a previous State of the Union address behind the president clapping?
It should not.
It ultimately comes from a song by Ja Rule.
We gon' clap back, we gon' clap back.
Is that right, Khalees? Is that your understanding too, from 2003?
I think that's when it came into popular, but a similar thing, where I am a part of the communities that were using it before that happened.
What does clapback mean if people still don't understand what it is? Because it's informal.
To clap back is to respond in kind often to comments that have been said to you.
Clap is definitely older than clapback. And the clap and clapback, according to the research that Merriam-Webster's done, refers to the sound of a gun. That's the clap. I did a project a few years ago looking at how long it takes for slang words to enter Merriam-Webster's dictionaries. This was a very slow-going project. I had to look through physical copies of dictionaries to see when words first were entered, because we don't have a database that records when any particular word got entered into the dictionary for the first time. And so I was looking at actual copyright years. And as you know, we update the dictionary every year. So it took a lot of time. So I was looking at our first known use, which means the earliest evidence we have of a word in print. And then I was taking that year and then looking at the year in which the word, which had a slang label, was entered. And I found out that for words that were coined in the 1950s, there was about a 35-year average between when our earliest evidence of the word appears and when we actually entered the word. In the 1960s, it was a 28-year average. For the 1970s, it was a 25-year average. For the 1980s, also a 25-year average. And then in the 90s, it was a 22-year average. And in the 2000s, an 11-year average.
Internet.
Gotta be the internet, right?
Right. I mean, our language was already becoming less and less formal before the advent of the internet, but now it's become dramatically less formal. And so the slang words are just used in contexts that are formerly not the context for such informality. Now, if you like thinking about how old these words are, there is a really great quiz at merriam-webster.com called Which Came First? And you can see how good you are at determining which of two terms is older or newer. For example, leggings or mom jeans.
I'm going with leggings.
I feel like leggings probably are.
You have to take the quiz and find out.
Oh, leave us hanging.
That's okay. I'm willing to spend an afternoon
Actually,
on that.
leggings are older, but how about if it were jeggings and mom jeans?
No, mom jeans are older than jeggings.
Yeah, I would say too.
Yeah, okay, you're both right.
I love quizzes.
I was thinking this whole time in terms of like slang, especially for words that end up with different spellings. I was thinking of girl as slang, how there's like all these different ways that girl gets said, that girl gets used, that girl gets spelled. It is kind of its own thing.
Yeah, there's GRRL and there's GURL.
Yep,
and they mean different things.
GWORL.
I don't know that one.
Generally used in queer and trans community. There's a lot of ways that girl gets used as slang.
Well, and a word can have slang senses and standard senses.
Right.
I mean, any word can, in theory, do that.
No cap.
But girl is a great one.
No cap is young kid stuff.
Yeah. But who do they say it because of?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying you're savvy to the young kids when they say.
No, I'm savvy to black people.
Yeah, it is really remarkable how African American English and LGBTQ English has enriched the overall language in these really remarkable ways. It is basically what distinguishes American English from British English.
It's almost like it's important that sort of diversity and then the inclusion brings some sort of like sense of equity to everybody that's using this language and makes everything a little bit better.
Why would you say that?
Are we in trouble now?
Just me.
Well, thank you, Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Merriam-Webster, for elucidating the world of slang for us.
Oh, thank you, Monty and Khalees.
We got some nice feedback when we talked about the word like last week. So if you like any particular slang that you want to tip us off to, we'd love to hear from you. thefab413@nepm.org.
Up next, another preview of the folks you can catch at this weekend's Back Porch Festival with Cowperson.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, offering co-op advantage checking with cash back on all purchases, plus secure debit card controls, all from the UMass 5 mobile banking app. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, offering solar options, energy security, and solutions for the local community. Learn more at northeast-solar.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. The Back Porch Festival is happening this weekend all over Northampton. 60 artists, 10 venues across the city. We'll be broadcasting live from the festival at the Iron Horse for Friday's show.
And one of those artists that you can catch on that Friday, March 7th, is Cowperson. Cowperson is one of the many musical endeavors of Michael Hansen, where he's teamed up with Keith Duso to delve into the sounds of Americana and make it wholly anew.
In their own words, Cowperson is encountering the Western motif, pickin' like Chet Atkins, croonin' like a young Sinatra, with strange, unearthly tunes that exclaim, croaking with prophetic overtones of purpose and sadness and grief and hope.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, you might remember we had Michael Hansen on the show last week talking about the documentary film that he helped create for NEPM, De Colores, Defining Kinship, Finding Peace, alongside our friend historian Erica Slocum. The intro music that was more beats-oriented was also Michael Hansen, but now we hear Michael in his cow person persona, and we're very excited for that. Take it away, cow persons.
Universal basic income is the one thing that I want. God didn't put me on this earth to have not, to have not. Not a rent check, not car insurance, not a sex toy, and not a rock. God didn't put me on this earth to have not, to have not. Universal basic income is the one thing that I want. God didn't put me on this earth to have not, to have not. Not a ticket to the opera, not a boyfriend or some socks. Not a life-size wax human imitation to have not, to have not. Oh, universal basic income is the one thing that I want. God didn't put me on this earth to have not, to have not. Oh, universal basic income is the one thing that I want. God didn't put me on this earth to have not, oh, to have not, to have not, to have not, to have not, to have not.
Cow person.
Facts.
Which is the greatest name for a band that was just sitting there waiting to be taken and was taken.
It's crazy no one took that.
By our friend Michael Hansen, who was on the show last week, with Keith Dusso, who's playing that beautiful Gretsch guitar back here as
What
well.
a flex, yeah.
And we'll be at the Back Porch Festival playing this Friday.
When you were here the last time, and I mentioned that I thought I had seen your picture amongst the artists of Back Porch Festival, but couldn't confirm it. You mentioned that this is one of your favorite outlets.
Yeah, big time.
Why? Why is Cow Person so fulfilling for you?
Mostly because of the resonance with Keith. I've written with individuals before, and a lot of the problem with writing with individuals is I am so intuitive most of the time. It makes it easy for me to produce by myself or work by myself. That's why I can do a bunch of things for myself in my own space if I'm excited about making them. But because I had spent more time developing a singing practice than I had a guitar practice, it was hard for me to accomplish some of the things on guitar that I really wanted to in order to like convey some of the things that in fact at first the reason that me and Keith know each other is because I put on Instagram. It was crazy. Like I'd met Keith at like some underground shows before. We never really whatever, but I was looking for someone to play pedal steel. And Keith had a pedal steel just, at the house, just bought a pedal steel. It's like, I'll bring my pedal steel over. And I think we wrote, I can't remember which song that we wrote, but we wrote a song on pedal steel and we're like, okay, word. And then we never used it again.
But the band was born.
Yeah. So we just kept playing with each other, kept writing. And
it did what it needed to.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And
Is it just you two, or is there a rhythm section too? Or?
And that's one of the other things. It's like the rhythm section is in the way that we interact.
But yeah, you almost don't need it.
Yeah. And it's honestly been really. I've been like a real Keith. I don't know. Whenever we talk about rhythm, we used to have like a little box, Keith's box. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what kind of box was that? You remember that?
Yeah, this is like in a category of drum machines that are called like organ drum machines. So you got like foxtrot, bossa nova. You have one knob that's like way too fast or way too slow.
All of Wesley Willis's greatest hits.
Yes, right on.
Yeah, the most inaccurate thing that I could ever you could conceive of.
Right, no presets. I think every time you powered the thing on, it was like the 12 o'clock was not the same tempo as it was, 12 minutes ago, sort of thing. So it was tough to work with.
Like playing with a real drummer.
Yeah.
Real drummer, right on.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what it felt like. It was like inconsistency, but that like especially the flavor of it. There's like just a crunch on like that particular drum machine and an energy that came from those like presets and that organ drum machine energy. That felt like, I don't know, never was able to like find it with like a in person kind of.
Gotcha.
So wrote it into the songs.
I love it. Well, let's take a quick break here with Michael Hansen and Keith Dussault, who are Cow Person, who are going to be playing at the Back Porch Festival this Friday. We'll hear another song from them on the other side of this.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all over Northampton. It's the Back Porch Festival. We will be there Friday at the Iron Horse broadcasting live with a bunch of fun bands, but we wanted to bring this band in anticipation of their Friday show as part of the Back Porch Festival. It's Cow Person, Michael Hansen, and Keith Dussault. Let's hear another one from Cow Person.
Am I legitimate or complicated? Here in the middle of time, my body broke in the field today. Talked to God and I told her I'm fine. Jesus Christ is a friend of mine. Body, bread, and wine. Sauce my heart's like unleavened bread. I just need some time. Cry more, be less. Measure of a man is found when you saw him quiet in his room at rest, sitting by the flickering fire. Oh, he died for me upon the 2x4, I guess. I loved him anyway. The death just made a mess. Who did they think they were? They claimed to be in his name. The art they showed me proved they were not all the same.
Getting deep and spiritual on that Cow Person number. Talking about all the things. Universal basic income, Jesus. That's what country music's all about.
Yeah.
Is that the appeal for you, Michael? Yeah.
I mean, like, there's that line between, like, old school, like, what we would consider country western and punk that's always been, like, very malleable.
I think so, too.
And I think that this is very much in that vein.
Yeah, it's hanging out there. I mean that last song, and most of the songs are... Or I don't want to say Death of Americana. I want to say I have no right to say that. And I feel like me and Keith have agreed on this in certain respects is like, we both have spiritual practices. There's an undertone there where like we understand how unbroken it is from life, and we're trying to reckon with that. And at least how I write the lyrics to songs, I'm engaging with the fear element a lot, the fear of God, the fear in general. You know what I'm saying? And I think, like, I mean, the song that we play after that, there's in sets that we do, this will highlight it, but like, we'll go into like this kind of long, drawn out kind of like open chord situation, and I'll say, "I hope you make it too, 'cause without you, there can't be me." And then like the flavor of the recognition, I was like, think recognition is really important, kind of brings out that kind of that fear, that observance, that sense of that thing that can only really come from, I don't know, whatever that American tradition is that I think country Americana folk have. Yeah, I mean that's all the writing, you know, it's like that energy. Bringing that to the surface.
Cool.
Yeah.
But like I would say the bills that I've seen Cowperson on are not necessarily Americana bills. It definitely leans more into like the esoteric, the avant-garde, the punk aspect of the local scene too. So it comes out in all of those ways.
We're talking with Cowperson, who's part of the Back Porch Festival happening this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all over downtown Northampton. They will be playing at 8:15 at Bishop's Lounge, which is a fun venue to see these two folks who are joining us.
Do you know if you're downstairs in the bar or if you're upstairs?
I think we're upstairs.
In the actual stage area.
Yeah.
Good for you. The other spaces hard to play in. As someone who definitely has. Is this the first festival you guys have been a part of?
I guess. Yeah, first festival.
Yeah.
And the music is not widely available yet for the recorded version of it, although you did send us a link.
Yeah.
When
But
might that be?
technically there's an album.
Yeah, album's done. The 20th. Yeah, the 20th is when we're releasing, and then soon after that, I'm moving to Philly, and we'll figure out how it works from there.
So in the meantime, you can catch them at the Back Porch Festival amongst a lot of folks from here and not from here, all under the general umbrella of Americana, and showing you how far you can stretch the genre so it's not just what you think of. Yeah.
Gerald Kelly, who's the comedian that we had on earlier in the show, you've been observing him. In the 30 seconds we have left, your take on Cowperson?
I absolutely love you guys. I'm in the process of writing a movie called When Music Met Comedy. And you guys fit the bill, man. We got it. Look, God don't make no mistake. Yo, these guys are. I know I got a show Friday. What time is your event?
I think
You're at
it's
8:15.
Yeah.
So, okay, mine starts at 8. It's a black show, so 8:45. I'm going to come.
That's a real fast way to get yourself a ticket on 91, my good sir. But we'll figure this out.
I'm coming to see y'all first, then I'm going to go to me.
I love it. You're going to headline, so you'll have plenty of time to see
Yeah,
that.
I'm coming. Yeah,
Well,
man.
thanks again to Gerald Kelly for coming in and sharing his comedy with us, and to Cowperson, Michael Hansen, and Keith Dusso. On the next Fabulous 413, maple sugaring season is still upon us. It's at the beginning, and Shattuck Sugar Shack or Sugar House is one of the places we'll be focusing on there in Belchertown. We'll hang out with the mother and son duo, Judy Shattuck and Nick Shattuck.
And our local orchestra down the street gets extra local in its next program, so we'll hear from President Paul Lambert, Maestro Kalen Manson, best dressed man in Western Mass,
Indeed.
alongside our own Kari and Jiri, and soprano Jamie Rose Guarien about the works planned for Eternal Echoes, their next program.
Plus, we'll be joined by U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern. Got a question for the congressman after that big speech last night, perhaps? The Fab 413 at nepm.org. We'll see you tomorrow.